What's going on, Internet? Nerdlocker.com here with your weekly comic book reviews. I started off with Green Lantern number 23. It couldn't have been easy for Robert Venditti to just grab the reins from Jeff Johns to do Green Lantern, but so far, he's doing an amazing job. I love seeing this book, like where we're at now with Hal being the leader of the entire Green Lantern Corps. And it's just showing how he's kind of doing things differently, or how he did them differently than the Guardians, and some of the smaller jobs he's kind of neglecting. But either way, this is an awesome book right now. We're really setting up for some stuff with, it looks like Kyle Rayner and Hal Jordan might maybe be button heads. Carol Ferris is going to be involved in that as well. But we get to see him, he sees Relic for the first time, and I know that next is Villains Month, so we're going to get to see what he's about and what he plans to do with the Green Lanterns. Either way, I'm loving this book. I'm giving it 4 out of 5 Nerd Skulls.
Hey there guys, Cubby here with my reviews for this week. I got to read Victories number 4. I like this issue. It's the 4th out of like a 5-part series, so obviously there's a ton of stuff going on. And it's all been building up. Like I've been talking about the last couple of reviews I did. It's all building up towards something. And there was a giant fight that was being like teased at. There was just a lot of, craziness going on with all these superheroes, and everything just happens in this issue. And it's really, really awesome because it's just twist and twist and twist and twist, and you kind of start seeing where all the pieces were coming together. So kudos to these storytellers because, man, it all fell into place awesomely, and it ends with like a really, 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 I wouldn't say like foreboding, but very powerful image of the things changing, of like the next issue, like the next series, whatever is going to come after this is just going to be like so much more intense. I mean, we've got one more issue of this story, so I feel like there's going to be more somewhere else, unless they do like some crazy awesome last issue extravaganza, which I would be totally excited for. But either way, this got me really, really pumped, and I always love when a comic book does that. It looked beautiful, it was crazy, had awesome violence action sequence. It was great, 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 awesome action movie material. So listen up, everyone. I'm going to give this 5 out of 5 Nerd Skulls, and I hope I can give that to the next one.
All right, next up, I got Swamp Thing number 23. Still a fan of this series. I'm glad that this book is staying strong. This book we still have, or this issue, we still have Constantine with the whiskey tree, and he's drunk on the power, like literally drunk on the power of the whiskey tree. He's just drunk and it's whiskey. Never mind. But it's cool seeing him with Swamp Thing again. This is definitely not the way I thought I'd see them together finally in the New 52. I mean, I know they were in Justice League Dark, but I was waiting on like more of one-on-one interaction. But yeah, this is really cool. You get to see Swamp Thing kind of just how he uses his powers and the extent of what he's able to do with so little. And I love that we're still building up Swamp Thing to being a big hero. I mean, he's always been popular. He's always been, Swamp Thing. But now that he's part of the DC universe officially, I like that we're building up to be this great hero. It's not just another book. We talked about the Cedar. I know they say next issue we get to see what happened to Arcane. But I would keep reading this. If you're not reading it, next issue should be a great jumping on point. I'm giving this one 4 out of 5 Nerd Skulls.
Hey fellow nerds, Jasper here with my review of Action Comics issue 23. Superman and the Pax Galactica have to team up, unlike issue 22 when they're pretty much slugging each other out. And they need to come to grips that there is a greater force coming to pretty much place destruction upon them and the Earth. So as they're pretty much realizing that they must come to grips of teaming up with each other, they pretty much go through the whole, we must, pit against each other, and the quick banter of, who's better than each other. But then once Lexus shows up, you realize that they can't do it by themselves and they need each other's help. Scott Lobdell does a pretty interesting job putting them together. And ultimately, Superman himself has to come to the realization that once again he has to do this on his own, seeing as they don't have the power to do it all together. So he takes it upon himself to do the unthinkable, but in realization, he has to do what he needs to do. And what's more interesting is what the Pax Galactica vow to become, or at least be, for Superman after he pretty much saves the day as usual. It's interesting concept. It's pretty much a big action sequence, as panel upon panel is pretty much all fighting. So definitely check it out for you action, die-hard fighting junkies. I'm definitely giving this a 3 out of 5 nerd skulls.
All right, guys, so I also got to read Manhattan Projects number 13 this week. A new era is upon us in this book. Crazy death happened last couple issues, and all the pieces are being picked up. Just like kind of a little bit, like it's kind of teasing like how like an epilogue towards all that stuff. And then it jumps a year ahead, and you kind of start seeing where all these scientists and what all these dudes are doing and how far they've advanced. And it's actually just really interesting to see how they're setting up the next era of this story. Not too many crazy things happen. I mean, if you know like the characters really well, you'll pick up on like the little things that they're hinting at. But it was a little slower than the other ones that I've been used to, and it's not a bad thing. It was actually a really decent issue, a really good read. And if you're enjoying this series, you'll still enjoy it. But it wasn't as like, oh my god, mind blowing as before. So I'm definitely going to give it 4 out of 5 nerd skulls just because it's still awesome, and it's cool that it's like an awesome historical fiction book with crazy dimensions and like a killer last page. Killer last page, pun intended. So check it out, 4 out of 5 nerd skulls.
Next up, I got to read All New X-Men number 15. This kind of seems like we're getting a little break in the story, kind of a filler issue, I guess. I know the next book to come out is going to be the Children of the Atom, or the Battle of the Atom X-Men story that they're doing. But this is actually a pretty heavy filler issue. Jean Grey is actually with Beast, normal, regular time Beast, the current Beast, and helping her work on her, just mental powers and telepathy and all of that. And she kind of peeks into his head and finds out about all these secret feelings he's always had for her, but had never said out loud. And Beast isn't really he's just kind of thinking and not realizing that she's peeking in, but she hears what he's saying and she acts upon it with the Beast from her time. And I mean, this is huge stuff for for the X-Men. This is crazy. We're messing with the original X-Men. We're messing with their histories and everything that's going on. Like I said, kind of a filler issue, but I feel that this is going to be very important to the series. I would definitely pick it up. I'm going to give this issue 4 out of 5 nerd skulls.
All right, guys, so I got to read Avengers AI numero dos, which is 2, if you don't know that. I wasn't too stoked on this book after Age of Ultron. I think I said that in my review of number 1. Check it out. Correct me if I'm wrong. It was actually really interesting, and it turned out to be a really awesome series preview. I really enjoyed what it was. And this issue kind of cemented it that it might actually be a really awesome book. Almost like Mighty Avengers awesome, because that when it started out, that was ridiculously insane. And this is kind of having that same feel. Just big concepts and theories and all kinds of weird sciencey terms thrown out there. And I'm not a big robot dude, so that's probably why I feel like I don't know what they're talking about. But it's really cool. I love Doombot. He's actually turned into a really funny character for me, just because he's Doom, but a bot and kind of human. And it's really interesting to see that. And the Vision is amplified to 1,000,000 in this, and not in this issue, but in this series, which is really, really cool. And I want to see what happens to him. Something happens to him that's bad in this issue, and of course he's going to get out of it. This is only the first story arc of it, and it's the Vision. He's not going to die. We know this, Marvel. Come on. Yeah, I'm a pro, okay? Anyways, I'm really excited to see where this goes. Victor Mancha looks like he's going to be stepping up to the plate in some way, shape, or form, which, as a Runaways fan, that's always cool, because he was one of those misunderstood characters. I hated him at first, but I ended up growing to love him. So I really hope he comes out as a really cool hero in this, especially knowing the prophecy behind him. Check it out. Anyways, this issue, I'm going to give it 4 out of 5 nerd skulls. A great read, and you really should probably be reading this.
And I got to read Deadpool Kills Deadpool number 2 this week. And if you don't know what's going on, basically, all of the possible Deadpools in existence in all the alternate realities are kind of coming together because they're being killed off. And while the concept is a bit interesting, it's very hard these days for me to be impressed by a Deadpool book because I feel like they're all kind of the same and the jokes just get very repetitive. And there are certain exceptions. I actually enjoyed Illustrated, but I don't feel that this book is an exception. It's just Deadpool talking to Deadpool, pretty much. It's interesting to see the different Deadpools. I think a lot of people will have fun with there's a Wolverine Deadpool and a Panda Deadpool. And so it's kind of interesting to see all the different possible Deadpools that would exist. But personally, I wasn't incredibly impressed by this. And it's just a little bit over the top for me. I'm going to give this book 2.5 Nerd Skulls.
All right, I got to read Detective Comics number 23. I'm loving this book. John Layman is killing it. We're going to see more of the fight between Batman and Wrath. And Scorn, who was killed last issue, we actually give him an identity and a little backstory about how Batman actually knew who he was before this happened. We see him actually confront Wrath on both levels, as Wrath and personal in the business world. And he sends Alfred to do a little meddling around, and something big, crazy happens, and Wrath is back, and he contacts Batman, and they're just ready to go at it. This next, I assume it's maybe 2 more issues, I think, of this story arc. I'm really stoked. John Layman's been killing it, and I can't wait to see this giant battle between like Batman and anti-Batman. Honestly, this book's awesome. I'm giving it 5 out of 5 Nerd Skulls. Let me know what you guys thought.
All right, guys, Cubby here with my review of Avengers number 17. It's the last issue of the prelude to Infinity, and if anything is going to get you excited for that, I haven't been reading New Avengers, so I can't say if that's really exciting or not, and I imagine it probably is. But Avengers, holy crap, I didn't see that coming. I really didn't see what like the end of it coming, and I usually can, not to toot my own horn, but I mean I usually can like kind of pick up where they're going to go, and it kind of came out of left field. I should have expected it, but it's still awesome. It's still really cool, and it gets me excited to see what's going to happen in Infinity, and I just want to know, like, how is this going to go down? How is everything going to pan out? Maybe I should probably read more Avengers books. But either way, this particular issue was really, really cool. Manifold is a badass in it, like teleporting and spearing people all the time, and it's just cool. It's just awesome. The Avengers expanding and becoming this giant thing that's not just about Earth anymore. It's kind of taking a bigger role and a bigger purpose, all because of Captain Universe and all this other stuff. It's really, really solid. It sounds ridiculous, but it's really solid story, and I want to know how they deal with these coming threats. I'm going to give it 4 out of 5 Nerd Skulls. I want to know what you would give it.